All right, so we're diving deep into resumes today, but not just any resumes. We're looking at the ones that actually work. And, we've got this awesome mix of sources, some English, some French, even some videos. Should be interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting how much advice is out there about resumes, but it all focuses on what you should include, the content. Most advice misses the bigger picture. Like, why are we even doing this?
Oh, okay, I like that. Let's zoom out then, look at the bigger picture. One thing that jumps out from these sources is just how many applications recruiters are dealing with. Like, one video even mentioned this stat. Recruiters only spend something like 30 seconds on average looking at each resume.
It's rough, but yeah, that 30-second rule, the Eventually Coding Sula Capo video talked about it. And it's true, if you're a recruiter and you're going through hundreds, maybe thousands of these things, you just can't spend hours on each one.
Right. But wow, 30 seconds. That's barely enough time to even, skim the page. So I guess, first impressions are everything.
Even more than that, it's almost like survival. Your resume, it's got to be like a movie trailer,
Yeah.
You got to hook the viewer instantly, make them want to see the whole film. Or in this case, get that interview.
Okay, mini panic attack happening over here, thinking about my own resume now. So one thing that's always been drilled into my head is the one-page rule. But one of our sources, this U.S. government job site, actually says that's a total myth.
Yeah, the easy federal resumes and more video, they went into that. Apparently, federal resumes, they can be pages long. I mean, we're talking like 6 pages sometimes. But I guess those roles, they need very specific qualifications. You need the space to really explain your experience.
6 pages. I'm picturing, a Tolstoy novel, not a resume. So does this mean we can all just ditch the one-page rule then?
I wouldn't go that far. It depends. If you've got years of experience and it's all super relevant to the job and you need space to show what you achieved, then maybe a longer resume makes sense. But if you're just starting out and you're cramming stuff onto 2 pages just to avoid the one-page thing, might backfire.
Context is key then.
Right.
So this actually leads into something a bunch of the sources emphasize.
Yeah.
It's about that top third of your resume. They called it the snapshot. The Business Insider video, they put it really well. They said it should give the recruiter everything they really need to know about you immediately.
It's prime real estate, right? Imagine a recruiter. They glance at your resume. That top section, it's got to grab them, scream, "This is the person you've been searching for."
Okay, but how do we actually do that? Is there some magic formula?
Think of it like a 3-part harmony. You've got a strong headline. It instantly tells them what job you're going for. Then you have a concise areas expertise section. Just list your key skills, boom, boom, boom. And then your professional summary, that's like your elevator pitch, your highlight reel on paper.
I like that. Elevator pitch on paper. Forces you to cut to the chase, no fluff. Speaking of cutting the fluff, the Business Insider video, they really went after objective statements. They called them a dirty word, which I got a bit made me laugh.
Yeah, that was pretty vivid.
All right, so tell me, why all the hate for objective statements? What's the big deal?
Put yourself in the recruiter's shoes. They need someone to solve their problems, not someone focused on their own career goals, right? Objective statements, they tend to be so vague, all about what you want. They don't really say what you can offer.
Yeah, I always struggled with those things. Never knew what to write. So professional summary is the way to go. What does a strong one even look like compared to, a weak objective statement?
Imagine you see this objective statement. Seeking a challenging position in a dynamic company. Super generic, right? Now compare that to this. Data-driven marketing specialist with a proven track record of increasing lead generation by 25% year over year. Which one grabs your attention?
Okay, yeah, night, day. That second one, it tells a story, it's got numbers, it's powerful. Speaking of power, I love this one phrase from another video. Bullet points equal bragging points.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It was from that same Business Insider video. They know how to make things memorable.
Catchy, right. And it gets to the point. Those bullet points, they're not just listing tasks. They're about showcasing your accomplishments, your bragging rights, so to speak.
All right, so let's talk bragging rights then. How do we make those bullet points really stand out? How do we avoid just listing boring, generic duties, right?
This is where it all comes together. Instead of saying, manage social media accounts, try something like, grew Instagram followers by 40% in 6 months, resulting in a 15% increase in website traffic. See the difference?
Okay, so it's about showing the impact of what you did, not just, what you were responsible for.
Exactly. And quantify it. Use numbers whenever you can. And strong action verbs. Make those bullet points pop.
My bullet points have been way too passive. It's not enough to just say what you did. It's about what you actually achieved. This is good stuff.
And that actually connects to something the French source, eventually coding sous le capot, emphasized, providing context.
Read the context.
They had this example, right? Someone who supported the growth of a company from $300 million in annual revenue. Imagine how much stronger that is than just help the company grow.
That's a really good point. I've read resumes where you just don't get the full picture. It's like watching a movie but not knowing anything about the characters or the backstory, right? You need that context.
Totally. It's like saying, I baked a cake. Okay, but what kind of cake? How many people did it feed? Did it win any awards? Details matter. They add depth and meaning.
Seeing now, a resume isn't just a list of facts. It's more like a story, right?
Yeah.
You got to capture the reader's attention, provide that context, leave them wanting more.
And just like any good story, it needs to be tailored to its audience. Which brings us to something every single source agreed on. You got to tailor your resume to each job you apply for. Ugh. I admit, in the past, I've definitely been guilty of using one generic resume for everything. I think we've all been there. But the job market's just too competitive now. A generic resume, it's like sending a mass email. No personal connection.
So how do we tailor it effectively? Is it just swapping out a few keywords?
It's deeper than keywords. You got to really dig into that job description, see what skills and experiences they're specifically looking for, and then highlight those in your resume. And try to use language that mirrors the job posting, you know?
This makes me think of those applicant tracking systems, the algorithms that scan resumes for keywords. It's like we got to speak their language to even get noticed.
Oh, yeah. Those systems are definitely a reality. But even if you get past the bots, you still need to impress a human at the end of the day.
Okay, so what? Appeal to the robots.
Yeah.
And the humans. It's like speaking two languages at once.
Yeah.
Speaking of humans, one of our sources, the nowcree.com video, they said something interesting. Don't make your resume just a big brag fest about how great you are.
That's a really important point. It's easy to fall into that trap, right? But remember, your resume is about showing how you can help the employer. It's not a self-promotion piece.
They have this killer quote. Companies will relate with you for their own problems, not for your greatness. Kind of harsh, but true. Have you ever seen a resume where it's just like dripping with arrogance, all about the candidate's ego, nothing about what they can actually offer the company?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And those resumes never leave a good impression. Recruiters want someone who's confident but also humble, someone who wants to be part of something bigger than themselves.
What? Confidence, but with a side of humility. I like that. It's like your resume, it reflects your whole mindset, you know?
Absolutely. And that mindset, it includes those all-important soft skills. The nowcree.com video, along with building a perfect CV and decoding exceptional careers, really highlighted those. They matter in every field, not just like the super technical ones.
There was one quote that really resonated with me. How you handle people and situations is going to be a bigger predictor of your overall career trajectory than just the domain knowledge that you carry.
So true. Technical skills, they get your foot in the door. But those soft skills, communication, teamwork, problem solving, that's what helps you climb the ladder.
Okay, so how do we actually show off those soft skills on our resume? It's easy to just say you have them, but how do we actually make them, like, come alive?
Instead of just saying excellent communication skills, give a concrete example. Think back to your past experience. Where did you actually demonstrate those skills?
So, like, led a cross-functional team to successfully launch a new product, resulting in a 10% increase in market share. Something like that.
Perfect. You quantified it, highlighted the teamwork, and showed the impact of your communication skills. That's a winning bullet point right there.
Mind blown. Never thought about soft skills like that. It's not enough to just say you have them. You got to prove it with real examples.
Exactly. And by doing that, you create a much more complete picture of yourself. You're not just skills on a page. You're a person with a history of success.
Okay, so we've talked about the 30-second rule, the myth of the one-page resume, the power of that top snapshot section, ditching objective statements, those bragging point bullet points, the importance of impact and context, tailoring your resume, and showcasing those all-important soft skills. Shh, my head is spinning. But in a good way, I think.
It's a lot to take in, but remember, the main takeaway here is this. A resume, it's not just a document. It's a strategic tool.
And we get to use it wisely. To tell our story, to show our value, to ultimately land that dream job.
Exactly. Understand what recruiters are looking for and present yourself in a way that connects with that, speaks to their needs, their challenges.
I am ready to revamp my resume right now. I'm already seeing so many things I can improve, make it more, like, impactful.
That's a spirit.
feeling inspired. But before we all run off to rewrite our resumes, any other must-know tips?
Oh, for sure. We haven't even talked about the how your resume actually looks, the visual presentation, It's not just the words, it's how they appear on the page.
Yeah, formatting has always been my nemesis. I can never get the spacing right or make it look like professional.
A lot of people feel that way. But there are some easy things you can do to make your resume visually appealing.
Okay, lay 'em on me.
Okay.
What are the formatting secrets?
Well, the Business Insider video had some good advice. Like, they suggested using a slightly bigger font size for your header, maybe like 14 or 16 points, but keep the body text smaller, around 10 or 12 points.
That makes sense. You create a visual hierarchy, right? So the reader's eye goes to the most important info first.
Exactly. And then they talked about margins. Keep them at least half an inch, no smaller.
Ugh, guilty as charged. I've definitely shrunk those margins down to try and squeeze everything onto one page, but I guess that makes it look all crammed and hard to read.
Yeah, white space is important. It makes everything look cleaner, more professional. It gives the reader's eye a break,
Okay, so bigger header font, good margins, white space. What else?
You can use bold or italics to highlight key skills or maybe big accomplishments.
Oh, I like that. It's like you're giving the reader visual cues, right? Guiding their attention.
Exactly. Just don't go crazy. Too much bold or italics, and it starts to look cluttered.
Right. It's all about balance, making it look good but still easy to read.
Exactly. And choose a font that's, professional and readable. Times New Roman, Arial, those are always safe bets.
Oh, I've seen some resumes with crazy fonts. It's so distracting. You kind of wonder if they're even serious.
It's always best to err on the side of professionalism.
Okay, formatting. Check. What about those pesky applicant tracking systems? Any tips for making sure our resumes don't get rejected by the robots?
Those systems can be tricky, but yeah, there are ways to optimize your resume for them.
Spill the beans. What's the secret sauce?
The most important thing is keywords. Use keywords from the job description. The systems are looking for those specific terms, so make sure they're in your resume, but, in a natural way.
Some people just cram in as many keywords as possible, even if they're not really relevant. Bad idea.
Yeah, don't do that. The algorithms are getting more sophisticated, and they can tell when someone's keyword stuffing.
So be strategic, not sneaky.
Exactly. Use keywords that actually apply to you, to your experience. And think about variations of those keywords, too.
Variations? Like, what do you mean?
So, say the job description says project management. You could also include things like project lead, project coordinator, project oversight, things like that.
Ah, got it. Covering all the bases, but without just repeating the same word over and over.
Exactly. And keep your format clean and consistent.
Yeah.
No crazy fonts or graphics or tables. Those can confuse the algorithm.
So it's like visual appeal for humans, simplicity for machines. Ugh, two different languages.
Right. And make sure your contact info is crystal clear right at the top. You don't want the system to miss that.
Right. We've covered formatting, those applicant tracking systems. We talked about making those bullet points really strong, tailoring the resume, the whole shebang. But there's one big piece missing. Cover letters.
Yes, the dreaded cover letter. Everyone struggles with them.
I know I do. It always feels like I'm just repeating myself, saying the same stuff that's already in my resume.
A lot of people think that. But the cover letter, it's your chance to tell your story, to make a personal connection, to explain why you're the perfect fit for that specific job.
So it's not just a resume summary.
Nope. Think of it as a conversation starter. You want to pique their interest, make them want to know more about you, make them want to interview you.
Okay, I like that way of thinking about it. So how do we make our cover letters actually stand out? What do we need to include?
Well, the most important thing is to address the specific requirements of the job. Don't just send a generic cover letter, Tailor it, just like you tailor your resume.
Same principle.
Yep. Show the hiring manager you've done your homework, you understand what they need, and you have the skills and experience to deliver that.
Okay, so be specific. Tailor it. What else?
Highlight your most relevant skills and experiences. You don't need to go into as much detail as your resume, but you want to give them a taste, Show them what you bring to the table.
And I guess this is where we can let our personality shine through a bit too, right? Show some enthusiasm.
Exactly. Let your passion show. Tell them why you're excited about this opportunity, why you want to work for them.
I'm starting to see it now. It's not just a formality. It's a chance to connect with the reader on a human level.
That's it. And, it's also a good place to address any potential red flags on your resume.
Oh, right. Like if you're switching careers or you had a period of unemployment.
Yeah.
You can use the cover letter to explain that stuff.
Exactly. Be transparent, be proactive.
Okay, cover letters are feeling less scary now. It's like an opportunity to really sell myself.
That's the attitude. And remember, a good cover letter can really make a difference. It can get your foot in the door.
All right, so we've got resumes, cover letters. Anything else we need to think about to, like, land that dream job?
One thing we haven't talked about yet is networking.
Networking. Isn't that just for, like, super extroverted people?
Not at all. It's just about building relationships with people in your field, sharing knowledge, learning from others, making connections that might lead to opportunities.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
But where do I even start?
There are lots of ways to network. You can go to industry events, connect with people on LinkedIn, reach out to people you admire for informational interviews.
Informational interviews. What are those?
It's basically like a casual conversation with someone who works in a field you're interested in. Learn about their career path, get some advice, make a connection.
Sounds less scary than a real job interview.
Exactly. And you never know. It might even lead to a job down the road.
This is making me think differently about job searching. It's not just about sending applications. It's about being proactive, building relationships.
Precisely. Put yourself out there, show what you know, let people know what you're looking for.
Okay, lots to think about. My job search isn't just one task. It's like a whole campaign.
That's a great way to think about it. And the key to good networking. Be genuine, be yourself. People can tell when you're faking it. Just focus on making real connections.
I'm definitely going to update my LinkedIn profile and start reaching out, feeling inspired.
I love that. Networking can actually be fun, and it can really open doors for you.
So resumes, cover letters, networking. What else? What else should we keep in mind during the whole job search process?
One of the most important things is just staying positive.
Yeah.
And being persistent.
Easier said than done, right?
I know, it's tough, especially when you're getting rejections. But you gotta remember, rejection is part of it. It doesn't mean you're not qualified or not good enough. It just means that particular job wasn't the right fit.
It's easy to get discouraged, but you're right. Got to keep going.
And celebrate your wins along the way, even the little ones. Every interview, every connection, every new skill you learn, those are all victories.
It's not just about finding a job, is it? It's about personal growth, too.
That's a great way to look at it. Job searching can be tough, but it's also a huge learning experience.
So before we wrap this deep dive, any final words of wisdom for our listeners as they, start their own job search journey?
I'd say be patient and don't give up. Be persistent.
Yeah, those are good ones. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? There'll be good days, bad days. But as long as you keep learning, keep growing, keep putting yourself out there, you'll find the right opportunity eventually.
Couldn't agree more. Focus on the journey, not just the destination.
Speaking of the journey, one of the sources, the Naukri.com video, had this interesting idea. Treat your career like a business.
Oh, that's an interesting one. What do they mean by that?
So they were saying, like, a business has to market its products, its services, right? Well, we have to market ourselves.
Makes sense. We are our own best advocates.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we have to be strategic. Think about how we're presenting ourselves, both online and offline.
So like building a personal brand. One that shows your skills, values, what you want to achieve.
Yeah. And that brand, it should be consistent everywhere. Resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, maybe even your own website, social media.
You're creating a narrative. Your story, it shows what makes you unique, what you have to offer.
I like that. A cohesive narrative. It's like we're writing the story of our careers.
And like any good writer, you got to revise, refine your work.
This is making me realize job searching, it never really ends, does it? It's an ongoing thing.
It is. It's about lifelong learning, always improving, staying ahead of the game.
So even when you get that dream job, the work's not over.
Nope. You got to keep learning new skills, keep building your network.
This is actually making me feel excited. It's not just about finding a job. It's about exploring, growing.
That's a great way to look at it. The journey itself can be really rewarding.
Okay, before we wrap this up, I want to go back to that question from our outline, that thought-provoking question, remember?
About going beyond the resume, you mean?
Yeah. So if recruiters are spending like 30 seconds on a resume, what else can we do? How do we really stand out, make a lasting impression?
It's a good question. It forces you to think differently.
So it's not enough to just have a great resume and cover letter.
Those are important, yeah, the foundation. But you need more.
Okay, I'm hooked. What else can we do to, differentiate ourselves when everyone else is doing the same stuff?
One thing you can do is create a portfolio of your work.
Up a portfolio. I thought those were just for, like, artists and designers.
Not anymore. Anyone can benefit from a portfolio no matter what field you're in.
So, what would you even put in a portfolio?
Depends what you do, what skills you want to highlight. Could be writing samples, presentations, projects you've done, case studies, maybe testimonials from clients or coworkers.
So it's like a visual way to show what you can do.
Exactly. Don't just tell them, show them.
I like that. It brings your resume to life,
And it gives you something tangible to share, something they can look at in their own time.
Yeah, that could really set you apart, I think.
It shows your passion, your creativity, your dedication to what you do.
Okay, create a portfolio is going on my to-do list right now. Any other strategies for making that lasting impression?
Don't forget about online networking.
We talked about networking in general, but what's so special about online?
Well, platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, even Instagram, they can be amazing tools for meeting people in your field, sharing your knowledge, building your personal brand.
So it's like using social media for your career.
Exactly. But it's not just about having a profile. You got to actually use it. Join conversations, share interesting stuff, connect with people who are doing things you admire.
Like you're building a whole community around your work, your interests.
Yes. And that community can give you support, ideas, even job leads.
This is really shifting my thinking. Job searching, it's not just about finding a job. It's about building a whole career, becoming a thought leader even.
I love that. And by being active in your field, showing what you know, the right opportunities will find you. You'll set yourself up for success in the long run.
This has been amazing. I'm feeling so motivated to, take charge of my career, be more strategic.
And remember, be proactive, be persistent, and most importantly, be yourself.
Well, that wraps it up for our deep dive into resumes that work.
We covered a lot, didn't we? From those first 30 seconds to showing your value to going beyond the resume itself.
A resume, it's more than just a document. It's your professional story.
And if your resume really represents you, you'll find a career that you love.
So as you're working on your resumes, remember to enjoy the process. It's a chance to learn about yourself.
Be strategic, be creative, and believe in yourself.
And never give up on those dreams.
Until next time, keep on learning, keep on exploring.